Ever wish your dog or cat could just, you know, tell you what they're thinking, like really speak their mind?
Right.
Well, today we're diving deep into the world of animal communication with someone who does just that,
Ooh, this is gonna be good.
Loli Jane. And she doesn't just talk to animals, she incorporates healing into her work too.
It's a really unique approach, definitely not your average dog whisperer.
No, not at all. What I find fascinating is how her own hearing loss kind of sparked this whole journey for her.
You don't hear about that every day.
Right. It's like losing one sense opened up all these other ways of perceiving the world.
Exactly. She developed these incredible clair abilities.
Mhm.
Clairaudience, clairvoyance.
Yeah, those kinds of things. It's wild.
It really makes you wonder what we're capable of if we could just tap into that part of ourselves.
Totally. So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack all of that. What is animal communication? How does it actually work?
The million-dollar question.
And maybe we'll even learn a thing or two about understanding our own pets better.
I'm all ears.
Me too.
Mm.
Now, one thing that struck me about Loli's work is how she separates animal communication from, like, traditional training.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because usually we think, okay, sit, stay, fetch. But she's talking about getting to the WHY behind an animal's behavior.
More like interspecies therapy, you could say.
Ish.
Getting to the root of what's going on.
So it's not just about stopping a dog from barking.
It's about understanding what's causing the barking in the first place.
Right, like maybe it's mirroring the owner's stress.
Oh, 100%. Or even, and this is where it gets really interesting, it could stem from a past life connection.
Okay, now that past life connection, that's something I think a lot of people are curious about.
Oh, yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
So how does that actually manifest? Like, can you give me an example of an animal mirroring their owner?
Absolutely. Let's say someone is super stressed about work, right? They might not even realize how tense they are.
Yeah, they're just going through the motions.
But their dog is picking up on all those subtle cues, all that energy.
Wow, so the dog is like, dude, what's with the bad vibes?
Basically. And then I might start acting out, chewing on things, having accidents.
It's like their way of saying, pay attention, something's off.
Exactly.
That is so wild. It makes you realize how tuned in they really are.
Oh, they're way more intuitive than we give them credit for.
So then, if we want to explore this deeper connection, where do we even begin? You mentioned that Loli prepares for her sessions by, like, raising her frequency.
Yes.
What does that even mean? And how can someone who's new to all of this, even grasp that concept? It almost sounds like we could all use a little frequency boost, right?
Tell me about it.
But I'm really curious about this whole process. Like, what does Loli actually do to prepare?
Well, it's not so much about specific actions, more about getting into a certain state of mind.
Okay.
Think of it like tuning a radio. You got to adjust the dial to get that clear signal.
To find the right station.
Exactly. So for Loli, it's about clearing out any mental clutter, distractions, so she can tune into the animal's energy.
So, like, quieting her own mind so she can hear what the animal is saying.
You got it. Meditation is big for her, spending time in nature. Even just a good night's sleep makes a difference.
Those are all things WD could probably benefit from too, right?
100%. It's about enhancing our own awareness, our intuition. It's all connected.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. So by minimizing her own internal noise, she's creating that clear channel for communication.
Exactly.
And that allows her to dive into some really sensitive topics too, like end-of-life communication. That's got to be tough.
It's definitely not easy. But Loli's perspective on how animals view death is actually really comforting.
Oh.
How so? Well, she describes it more as a transition, not an ending. Like, they don't seem to fear it in the same way we do.
That's interesting. We talked earlier about animals mirroring their owner's emotions.
Right.
So maybe our anxieties about death, are we projecting that onto them?
That's exactly what Loli has found. Their fear often comes more from our energy than their own understanding.
Wow. So knowing that our pets don't necessarily see death the same way, that could be really helpful for owners who are going through that.
Absolutely. It can bring a lot of peace and acceptance.
It really makes you think. So much to learn from their perspective. Speaking of, I know everyone wants to hear some stories.
Oh, I have a good one.
Lay it on me.
So this one's called the impacted bowel case.
Okay.
And it involved a cat who had been struggling with this issue for, get this, 2 years.
2 years. Oh my gosh, that poor cat. And the owners too.
Right. Vets were stumped. Nothing seemed to work.
So what did Loli find when she tuned in?
Okay, are you ready for this?
Hit me.
The cat was mirroring the family's emotional tension, specifically their relationships with their mothers.
Whoa, hold on. The cat's gut health was related to family dynamics.
It's wild, right? And it turned out that 3 generations of women in this family had dealt with both impacted bowel issues and these strained relationships with their moms.
Like a generational pattern playing out through the cat.
Exactly. It was like the cat was bringing it to the surface so they could finally heal it.
Yeah, it's incredible. Our pets really do reflect back to us what we need to see, even if we don't realize it ourselves.
100%. It's a powerful reminder that healing the animal often involves healing the human, too.
So true. Okay, I have to ask about another case that blew my mind, the aggressive foster dog. So this dog was, like, totally chill at home,
Yeah.
but out on walks, forget it, barking, lunging, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, I know that type.
The owner was mortified, right? Feeling judged, like she was doing something wrong.
It's tough when you feel like you can't even leave the house.
Totally. So Loli, she digs in, starts tuning into this dog's energy. And get this, she finds out it's past life trauma.
Whoa.
And not just any trauma, it was shared trauma between the dog and the owner.
Okay, now that's just wild.
Right. Like, how does that even happen?
Well, it's like this deep energetic connection, right? Imagine carrying echoes of a past experience with you.
Even if you don't consciously remember it.
Exactly. So Loli helps them both, the owner and the dog, to acknowledge those buried emotions and process them.
Wow, so it's about healing the past for both of them.
Exactly. And here's the other crazy part. Loli also picked up on the owner's anxiety during the walks.
So the dog was mirroring her energy in that moment, too.
Totally. It's like this feedback loop. She's nervous, the dog senses it, acts out, then she gets more anxious.
And round they go. So how do you break that cycle?
Well, Loli worked with the owner on shifting her mindset. Visualization was key.
Like picturing the walk going smoothly.
Exactly. Imagining the dog being calm and confident. And guess what? It worked.
No way. So powerful. Our thoughts really do create our reality, even for our animals.
It's amazing, right? And this is just one example.
Now, we've talked a lot about the communication side, but Loli also incorporates pranic healing.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole other layer.
It is. So for those who don't know, what exactly is pranic healing?
Think of it as working with the body's energy field to promote healing. Like giving your own body that extra boost it needs to heal itself.
So she's tapping into their energy, like she does during communication, but this time it's about physical and emotional healing.
Exactly. And she can actually communicate with the animal about their symptoms.
Wait, really? So she's asking the animal, where does it hurt? How long has it been going on?
Pretty much. It's like giving them a voice in their own healthcare.
This is blowing my mind. I bet some of our listeners are freaking out right now thinking, I want to do that.
Right?
Can anyone learn to communicate with animals like Loli does?
Loli truly believes everyone has that potential. It's about tapping into that intuition we all have.
Right, that gut feeling we often ignore.
She even teaches workshops on this stuff.
She does. What kind of things do people learn in those?
Everything. From the basics, like how to quiet your mind and tune in.
Okay, so like meditation, visualization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the way to advanced stuff like past life regression.
Whoa. So even if you're not ready to sign up for a workshop, there are things people can do at home to start connecting with their pets.
Oh, absolutely. Just being more mindful, paying attention to their body language, that's a great start.
It's like really seeing them.
And try talking to them telepathically. It sounds kind of out there, but it works.
I'm going to try that tonight with my cat. This has been so eye-opening. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface.
Oh, there's so much more.
I know. Well, a huge thank you to Loli Jane for sharing her gifts with us and for reminding us that there's a whole other level of communication happening all around us if we just open ourselves up to it.
Beautifully said.
For those wanting to learn more about Loli's work, we'll have all the links in the show notes. Until next time, keep those conversations flowing, not just with each other, but with the amazing animals in your lives. You never know what you might discover.